Alright, so now let's look at the manual and see what we have to work with here. Ooh, the glimmer of particles that changes an era. I'm glad it's all in English. Good presentation here. Oh, that's nice. Very nice. You gotta give credit where credit is due. To do a manual like this for a perfect grade, you definitely want quality. And this is quality right here. So, the first thing I'm seeing here on this page is parts. The parts that you need to make this kit. Now, clearly, we're seeing parts that have X's. And I don't see nothing here, I don't see nothing here. But I do see some parts here for plate number M. That's the gray part, so I guess they had to do it twice. Because you don't need those two, and you don't need these two again. Yeah. I see everything is okay here. And on this page, I see 2 parts are not required there, and 4 there. Okay, that seems fair. So it's very few parts that's going to be removed and put into storage for future use whatsoever. Then we have the assembly index, which of course is assembly of the base, the inner frame, the armor, how to open up the hatches, the assembly of the weaponry, and that's it. Techniques on how to remove and cut parts. Clearly this is an undergated kit, so we don't have to worry about sanding, but sanding will probably be required on small, minute areas. And the first thing, of course, it talks about is the assembly of the base stand itself, which is very nice. This stand will be built and painted when the time comes. And then, of course, the first thing I see here is the chest frame. So this is kind of cool. I like it that you're building the inner frame first. Kind of like what in the manual for the IBO kits, like the Barbatos, because in the manual the first few pages is just the assembly of the inner frame, and then afterwards is the assembly of the outer frame, or the armor. So I see the assembly is pretty good there. The clear parts. The assembly of the waist unit, that's good. Yeah, that's actually really good. So, alright, that's easy. Then the assembly of the legs. Pretty cool right there. The decals, of course. And oh, okay, that's kind of cool. It's a two-parter, right? It's not an assembly where you don't have to. You have, you know, like certain leg assemblies. You either assemble the inner frame and you paint it all in one shot. While some legs you could separate them together. So you separate them to paint them differently. This one you see a separation right there. So that's good to see. Then the arm frames, the shoulders, that clear part, of course. I'm kind of mentally planning myself on the fact that, you know, some parts are going to be removed and put to the side so they don't get painted. I don't think I'm going to have to worry about masking, but you never know, so I'll have to review this manual over and over. Here's the assembly of the hands. Surprisingly, usually I remember that the hands assembly comes in its own separate tray because it's all molded together. This one is separate, and it's in one of the trays there. So that you got to be careful with, because that one you have to sand pretty. You know, you don't want to lose those parts. Those hands can, even though the hand's big, it's still small enough for you to lose. Then we have the assembly of the, obviously, once the arm is done, then you put it together. Then you have the assembly of the head. And then from there you have the GN drives and how to plug it in. And then that way you finish the internal of the kit. Then the assembly of the armor, beginning with the chest area, the waist, the front, the side armor, from the waist unit all the way down to the legs. The various parts of the legs. Wow, there's a lot of armor parts there. And then, of course, how to assemble the configuration of how it opens and closes, the hatches. Then you have the assembly of the arms, both left and right arms, followed by the massive shoulders, and then it ends with the head. Then finally, you have the assembly of the weaponry, beginning with the GN long. The assembly of the GN long blade, the GN short blade, the GN shield, the GN sword. Yeah. GN beam sabers and the daggers. And then how to place them on the kit. How to position the sword. How to open up the armor. The removal of the GN drive itself. And there's a little stand here so you can put the GN drive out there so you can display it to everybody. And what the coolest thing about this is the base has space inside under it, so all the parts forming hands, all the leftover weaponry, so you don't have it hanging around on that kit, you could put it right under the base for easy storage. Smart, super smart idea on Bandai's part. More detailed photographs of the kit in action and the color guide. Here's all the colors that you could use to paint and make this kit unique. The base, the placement of the stickers, and then of course Celestial Beam logo. That is cool. This is going to be an amazing build. But now, let's talk about painting. So, as the title suggests, this will be a Trans-Am Gundam Exia. That's right, I'm painting this Trans-Am. I guess when 00 Gundam came out and we saw Exia and all the other mobile suits turning Trans-Am, the big question was, how do you do Trans-Am? And in reality, it's not as easy as you think. Is it the different color scheme? Is it a metallic? How does it work? And it's very difficult to do this in painting. I mean, through the years I've seen many people's interpretation of making a Trans-Am Exia, or Dynamis, or Virtue, or Arios, or Kyrios. And some of them come out right, some of them doesn't come out right. It's a very, very difficult procedure to do something like that. And then as the years pass, clearly, you know, companies that make their own different types of paints come across a paint that's close to it to make this kit look like Trans-Am. Now, for that, I'm going to show you a kit that I have that is Trans-Am. Here's, of course, the 00 Gundam in Trans-Am, which was a kit that I picked up. I forgot where or when I got it. I built this a few years ago. I put it in storage because I didn't have any more space to put it away. But it was at a time where I was building Trans-Am, some Trans-Am kits. I had the Trans-Am Reborns, the CeraV Seraphim, the Arios. Don't have the Cherubim though, unfortunately. It'd be nice if I did. But let's look at this, and let's look at this picture of course, the 00 Gundam normal. Now, the pink is all white. The red is still metallic red, but the blue was transformed into this burgundy burgundy color. So, and then of course you have the regular ones like the gray, and I think that's pretty much it. The gray colors. Oops, I didn't know this was up this way. So, yeah, that is what Trans-Am looks like. Oh, of course, you have the orange-yellow for the V-fin. But that's for this part of the kit. And Exia does not have that yellow V-fins, except for this, of course. So if we go over here, let's pull up one of the colors here. This will be pink-ish type color. This will be the burgundy red, or the dark burgundy. There's the red metallic. Charcoal will be charcoal, and the yellow would be an orangey color. Now, in anticipation of this, I started to do research and look up for any type of paints that I could use. One such paint that I found that I thought would be perfect for this was something that I found online. I've always been a big fan of the Ammo MIG products, Ammo by MIG Jimenez, and I found this set. This is the Metallic Mechas color set by Ammo by MIG Jimenez, number 7158. Picked this up online for about kind of close to 20 bucks. And this one comes with metallic orange, metallic red, copper, warhead metallic blue, brass, and steel. This is water-based, or acrylic-based, excuse me, and of course it will allow me to airbrush this on this kit. Now, unfortunately, the red will be perfect for the red parts. The orange, the metallic orange, will be perfect for the yellow parts. Now, clearly I won't be able to use these other colors because for the darker red, for the blue, which is going to be the darker red, I'm going to be using this color. GX215 Mr. Metallic Color GX, known as GX Metal Bloody Red. This is a darker shade of red tone, which is perfect replacement for the blue, as you can see by the bottle. This is more like the russet color that I've always used on military like spaceships I have, or any type of colors that use a darker red tone. This is good. This looks good. I don't know if it is good, but it's something I want to try. For the pink, or, well, one would argue would be pink, and this is where I kind of drew an issue here. There is no such thing as metallic pink. I did pick up a can of hot pink metallic by I believe Tamiya, but Prime 92 told me that that's a too darker shade because she's done that before, and I picked up the bottle for no apparent reason. But you never know. Yeah, I mean, I could probably experiment, maybe try the idea of chroming up the parts, then top coat it, then getting a lighter shade of maybe clear pink and spray the clear pink over it, and then top coat it again with a pearl finish. Or I could use this Metal Peach. It's a little shade off, but to tell you the truth, it'll do. It'll do. Actually, let's open the bottle up and see what it looks like. First, let me get a stir. And do I have something to test on? Where is no. I put away a lot of cardboard. Oh, here we go. Let's use this test cardboard to test it out. Let's agitate it a bit. Let's stir it. think it looks alright. I don't see any issues there. Clearly, I'm going to have to probably give it a white base coat. I wonder if I still have my white primer. Gray primers will probably be okay, but a white primer would be good. But considering how thick this color is, I think the regular gray color primer should be okay. Let's test out the darker one. I could probably do like a color, you know, get spoons, plastic spoons, but I didn't get any lately. Could have done a test on that. Maybe I'll do that later. We could always, you know, clearly try out the other spray can and see how that looks. Right now this is just a rough test. Alright, so this one is nice. I don't know if you guys can see that in the reflection. Clearly it's not as perfect because, you know, it's not sprayed on or anything like that. You know what? This is just I'm gonna retest this again. But look at that. So that's kind of okay with that, and that is kind of okay with that. All right. So I got my colors. So what I'll do is this. We're going to test this out. I'm going to get some spoons. I'm going to test out the red, the pink, the peach, the orange, the red, and whether I'm going to use the copper, I don't know. Maybe the copper will be. Well, no, I don't think the copper was ever used on the Exia anywhere. There's nothing here that will call upon it. Oh, that's right. This needs to be painted, so that will probably be red as well. I'll have to look at the, yeah, that will still use this color. And I forgot the fact that this is a two-tone red, so do I have another type of metallic red that I could use for that? I've been reviewing the Elaclad paints, and I do have a lot of red metallic in different shades and tones. So what I'll do is I'll get a set of spoons. I'll paint each and every one of them the colors that I think that will be perfect, and we'll review them and test them out. So right now, let me just begin preparing the kit before we begin painting. So preparation is the first thing we're going to start with. I hope you guys will enjoy this lengthy build, because I don't know how long it's going to take for me to paint this. Hopefully it doesn't take more than a month, but it'll probably be worth it. So thank you for watching me talking about this, and let us begin building Trans-Am Perfect Grade Exia.